Stretch yourself. Stretch yourself. Stretch yourself. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stretch Yourself Podcast. I'm wearing a different outfit to give the appearance that this is a different time and a different place and a different day. But it's not, and that's show business for you, baby. I don't know what that was. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I got another great episode for you. If you want to come see me do stand-up live and in person, come see me at Ratio Beer Works in Denver on February 12th. It's a Wednesday. And then come see me the next day in Greeley at Stella's Pinball. It's a Thursday, February 13th. Those are my dates, folks. I'm very excited to bring up your our guest for the podcast today. Before I do that, let's get into our sponsors for today, huh? Our sponsor today for this episode is brought to you by Amazon. Amazon, because where else are you going to get that weird thing that you need? It's true. It's very sad because I hate supporting a giant corporation like that, but it's becoming more and more inconvenient for me to get my stuff anywhere else, dude. Like, I go to the camera store. I try to go to the camera store and I say, hey, I need a lens cap or rear lens cap for this weird ass Sony camera. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I go, okay, well, I guess I'll go on Amazon then. And even Amazon couldn't help me with the rear lens cap, but they have everything else that I need. They have the weird microphone that I need. I got this on Amazon. I got the freaking camera on Amazon. I mean, what else am I going to do? Where else am I going to go? Because I go to the other stores too, and it's more expensive to buy it from a regular store because they get it from the wholesaler and then they mark it up and then they sell it to me. Or I could just go straight to the wholesaler and get it for cheaper. And it's sad because small businesses are dying and I want to support them. But more often than not, if I'm walking into, it's because I'm window shopping. You know, if I buy something from a small business, it's like I go in and I'm like, oh, this is, soap. I like soap. Buy some handmade soap for like $12 for a bar. It's tough. It's tough these days. But hey, what are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do? You got to get it somewhere, And I can't make stuff. I'm not good at, I don't like making things. I do like making things with my hands, but it's just easier to buy. Like, I have a bunch of hats that I wear. So I have them on my wall going around the closet. And they're on these like special little pegs that my girlfriend got that from Amazon. But there's also like a hat rack where it's just like you can stack them like that. And I want to make that. I feel like I could make a hat rack and put it on the wall. It might not look as good, but that's going to take so much time. Like, it's going to take so much time. And I'd rather just buy it for $10.99 on Amazon. Buy 2 or 3 of them. It sucks, but here we are. Here we are in 2025 in America. We're doing it. We're doing the thing. I mean, I'm going to buy, if shit hits the fan around here, around these parts, I'm going to buy like all my gear on Amazon, all my survival gear that I need before it all collapses. And I'm not a doomsday guy, okay? I just maybe I am a little bit. Maybe I am because I'm a Boy Scout, always be prepared, So I like to be prepared. I'm going to buy a respirator on Amazon. Because if tear gas starts flying and I'm trying to get my dang gas, trying to pump my gas at the car, and I'm right next to a protest and there's tear gas flying out. I'm not in the protest. I'm just adjacent to the protest. I don't want to be coughing up bile because of tear gas. No, I want to put on my respirator and put it on and be like, hey, I'm good. I'm prepared. COVID who? I have a respirator. Oh, you in your little mask? That's cute. I have a carbon filter on this bitch. Okay? $35. Amazon. Could go to the hardware store and get one for $50. No thanks. No thanks. That's another good example, okay? I went to Home Depot. Not a local business. This was like a year ago. Not a local business, okay? There's just pros and cons, right? So I'm looking for lights. I'm looking for lights to put up in my house. Go to Home Depot. I get these like fancy looking, they're like these like octagon shaped lights that are battery operated, and you put them on the wall. 6 of them. Got them for like $42 or something like that. Go on Amazon, they're $15 for the same thing. Why did I do that? I don't know. But if you want just a regular ass spotlight that's just like, it's got like a clamp and a bulb and a plug, that's it. Can't find it on Amazon for the right price. If I search spotlight, it only gives me like a friggin' flashlight, or it gives me like a giant like studio light that's like $800 or something like that. And I'm like, I don't want that. I just want like the thing. And then my roommate goes to Home Depot and he finds it for $12. So it's weird. It's a weird world we live in, And those lights that I got another set of lights from Home Depot, I think. They suck. Can't figure out how to use them. Don't know how they work. Don't know how they plug in. They suck. Sorry. Sorry I'm being negative, everybody. It's just been a long day. It's been a long couple of weeks. I feel like everybody's feeling that though, So let me put some positivity in the room here, because I know that there's like things going on in the world, in the country. Like it's a weird time for a lot of people. Maybe not for everybody. Some people are kings of their castle right now, but I look around and I'm thinking about I should get a respirator in case tear gas is anywhere near me. That's what I'm thinking about right now. This podcast is also brought to you by Smart Water, because you're a dum-dum if you're not going to drink this water. I don't know why I like Smart Water. I just like the shape of the bottle. I don't know why. It's just good marketing. I'm just as much, and I lean into it. Okay, the subconscious mind and like marketing and stuff, where like if I hear Smart Water or see it on a billboard, guess what? I'm more likely to buy a Smart Water than any other bottle of water, and I embrace that. Okay, because it feels good. Just lean into it, folks. Lean into it. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, corporate America. Building the wage gap, making the richer richer and the poorer poorer. It's fine. Just embrace, just spend all your money. Get more credit cards and just max them out. We're going to die. That's positive, right? That's a good thing. You won't have to worry about this one day. Just enjoy it while it's here, man. Enjoy it while it's here. Buy stuff. Watch TV until your brain is mush and your eyes hurt. Just lay around. Who cares? You only get one body. Why work it too hard? Why go outside? It's safe inside. Stay inside. Don't go out there. That's where the world is. That's where nature is. That's where all the bad stuff is. Stay inside your house. and just eat. Just order food. Don't ever leave your house, and just stay there forever. That's what you should do. That's my advice to you. Is just lean into it. Oh, there's fires. Your neighborhood's on fire. Cool. Make some more fire. Set some more fires. That would be fun. Making fire is fun. I'm being insensitive now. I'm sorry. Guys, let's not waste any more time. I've been goofing around and for too long. But guys, I'm very excited to bring up your next guest. Quick note about this episode is I made it all the way to Longmont to the library to record the podcast, and I realized didn't have my SD card for the camera, and I didn't have a tripod to use my phone. And also I'm not going to use my phone and put an hour video on my phone. Okay, that just doesn't make sense. Even if I wanted to, even if I could plug in a device to read an SD card on my phone, guess what? My port on my phone has deteriorated to the point where I have to finagle and finesse the cord just right so that it collects a charge or can plug into my speakers. So it's not reliable. That's what I'm saying. Hey, this podcast is brought to you by Lightning Cables by Apple. They will last for 2 years, and then you're on your own, pal. You got to get wireless charging, and your phone's not going to hold a charge either. Sorry, man. I just got to get all this out. This podcast is very therapeutic for me, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Our guest today, he is a local filmmaker. He's a good friend of mine. His work is limited but not including but not limited to Forgery, Country Mustard, Safe House, 1618. These are all feature-length films, folks, okay? And he's written hundreds of more scripts. This guy is a workhorse, okay? He fucking gets it done, all right? And he is the creator of Deescalated Pictures, which is a producer and a studio house that helped produce the film that your boy was a part of that I acted in, okay? It's very exciting. We're going to be premiering this film. It's called Field of Screams. It's about a killer scarecrow. And we're going to be premiering this film. We worked very hard on it almost a year ago now. We filmed this movie. I was an actor in it. Lots of talented people on this film, on this project. It's going to be premiering on April 10th at the Oriental Theater and in Fort Collins at the Lyric on April 24th. So please check it out, and please help me welcome my friend and yours, Mr. Calvin T. Shepard, everybody. Stretch yourself. Anything, it's fine.
Yeah, I got you.
Cool. Sorry, man. I really wanted to do the video part.
No, it's okay. The 9 times that's happened to me.
Dude, I knew it was going to happen eventually, but I was hoping it wouldn't be today. Because I was like, just the amount of times I'm like running around, like unpacking gear and stuff. And then like taking my memory card to the computer back and forth to the camera and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I kind of glad on Field of Screams I got to be less involved with that part, because usually that part is such a headache. Just the little like details you have to remember to keep everything from falling apart.
Yeah, so there's so many things that you have to remember. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and thankfully you have a team there that gets their own part. So you're not doing everything. But
because like that first weekend when it was just mostly you and Jordan, wasn't there, like, we were having sound issues like big time for a while. Like we were trying to figure out something
because we were getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was calling people and we were figuring, it was the memory card. The memory card wouldn't take any.
I remember Kyle talking about that. Here, one sec.
Oh, I got you. Are you cold?
No. I have my nicotine in my jacket.
I keep watching on the windows.
Yeah, nobody look. I'm doing legal.
Okay. All right. I figured.
Oh no, I'm not gonna vape. No, I'm not gonna vape in this library, this public library. I just rip out like the biggest vape you've ever seen. Just like blow these clouds in here.
We open it up.
Yeah. No, I'm on the pouch live.
Bombs going on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but like with the memory, I remember Kyle telling me about that, and I remember like talking about it with Alex and Evan too on their pod, and it was like I didn't really understand at first, but then like recently I learned more about memory cards and like through this whole process. So like this thing, I had like its own memory card for it, and for like a couple of times I switched it from here to a camera.
No.
Yeah. Didn't know that wasn't allowed. And so like pretty soon I was like, why does it keep saying there's a write error on here? And why does it like get choppy at certain points and like cuts out like little tiny segments? And it's because it was getting corrupted basically.
Yeah.
Which really blows. But then like that's not even like the worst. That's one example of that. So like now that card's gone, and now I label all my cards so they all have a specific device to go to. But like with this thing, like the camera, the Lumix, it has a double card slot, and there's one for just a regular SD card, and then there's one for like a heavy duty one with the extra row of teeth.
Yeah.
It's like a V90 or whatever to write. Super expensive, crazy expensive. And then I was just like playing around at a shoot one day. I was like, what would happen if I did this? And I just like switched on the knob to the this setting that shoots in like 6K photos.
Uh-huh.
Didn't think it would be that big of a deal, and then it just like it freaked out and like glitched, and then like froze, and couldn't shoot on that card anymore. And I went back and looked at it. It was completely gone.
Oh.
Couldn't open it again.
Dude,
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, no.
It's not like a $40 SD card. It's like over $100 SD card that's just gone.
We used like UNC. We used to do that shit all the time. Just like shoot a whole movie and then it'd just be gone. Just because we were screwing around with shit and didn't know what we were doing, and then like it'd just be gone. Yeah, that you took. Weren't we in a production class together?
Yeah, you're still saved in my phone as Calvin from Film 340 or something like that.
That class was awful, but
well, there's it was like it was a production class, like a video production class.
Right, and we were all making stuff outside of that class, and like that teacher was,
not me.
Well, okay.
I got into it to try to make stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the thing, was like that some of us were, right? And that teacher was like, no, don't do that. Like, you're wasting your time.
What? She didn't want you to make stuff outside of class?
No, yeah, she was, well, especially anything longer than a short film, she was like, no, don't do this.
Interesting.
Which, I don't know, man, that is a pretty common taught thing in college.
Why?
Well, I mean, the idea of practicing with short films make a lot of sense, right? And I've made a lot of feature films that are not worth anything in the sense of like I can't sell them, I can't do anything with them. But I mean, the short film is like, to an extent, it has the same problem. Not in the problem of like you can't do anything with it, because you can definitely grow yourself with it, but you can't like sell it. Like, you can't make a lot of money off of a short film.
No.
And so like the thought process is that you don't want to invest in making a feature film until you're ready for it. And there's a higher level of investment than people understand, I guess, more than even I understood, from the post-production side, right? Because that's where things start to rack up. That's where you start having to have like legal forms, and you have to have like just all the deliverables, and you have to have people come in and do a bunch of work on it. But the thing is that with the equipment we have available to it, are like, they create kind of these arbitrary rules. There's a way to make it in the film industry, and I had to think about this a lot based off of like the last time you and I sat down to do this. And I can't remember exactly where I was at, but I know that I wasn't in where we're at today, as far as like I wasn't planning on making a bunch of movies here anymore. I think I was planning on leaving.
Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were planning on leaving, and you had a film project fall through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so and that's where I figured I was. Yeah. And so I've completely kind of changed the way I look at things, because on a certain, like, there's a way that they'll tell you how to do this, right? You make enough short films, try to get get better at them until you get attention from them.
Yeah.
And then once someone gives you an opportunity to go work on a feature film, you go work on a feature film, and then eventually you can
make your own
once you get enough money, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
or
even
enough resources,
right? There's even a kind of a look of like, you need to go into a bunch of these festivals in order to get distribution, and then that takes a year away from your film, which is not a bad thing. I mean, like, all those routes, those are the right ways to do it. But what we kind of did over the past year was look at, like, when I went to New York for Safe House 1618 and the Kevin Smith Film Festival, I met a filmmaker there named Dante, who had made and sold a film, right, and sold it, and that's what we had done with Safe House 1618. But because of a bunch of stuff, like, I wasn't involved with that heavily. But what I came to find out is, like, going to a distributor, a smaller distributor, is actually quite easy, right? There's not a lot of, like, you have to do. I mean, you have to finish the film, and you have to pay for it, and you have to make everything, come out good, right? But, like, as far as, like, getting to the distributor, just send them the movie,
Yeah.
and not to, you know, unless you got to start the conversation with them first. Don't directly send them the movie, but but yeah, and then, you know, like the idea would be, okay, we got to go to a festival, then we got to get a distributor, then we got to, you know, and like what I want is for them to start turning profits soon. And so the kind of plan is to more run up the movies our own way, kind of do it our, you know, selves. Because I mean, you've been to a couple of my shows. We were able to usually get a bunch of people in the seats. You know? And so like last time when I did Safe House 1618, we had that show that you were there for, and then it was nearly 6 months before the movie came out on VOD, right? We don't plan on doing that kind of.
What's VOD?
Like, video on demand. So just like for streaming.
Yeah.
So,
on Prime, right?
Well, yeah. Well, anything. Yeah, like.
Oh, it's on anything.
Well, anything that will take it at the time.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not supposed to like reveal like that we. Well, we do have distribution and talk about it, but I'm not supposed to talk about like where or how or when that's all going to come around. But because they're honest about it. But but the point of it is so that way when, you know, we'll show the movie and it will come out soon after that. So hopefully showing the movie before that will help the movie grow.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Where do you think, like, because I think there is certain places you want to be in before you make a leap to something, but I think there's also something to be said about like just starting with what you have and getting as much experience as possible early on. So like me, like you know, everybody's like, oh, like people who don't understand stand up are like, you know, when are you shooting a special or something like that? Or like they think it's all about the special. You got to get to the special.
Right.
And yeah, it would be great to have that, but like there's a certain place you want to be in before you just jump into something like that. But also, like, I just started shooting shows. Like, I started shooting like as much as I could, like whatever I'm a part of, like if it makes sense to do, like I just started recording a full show because I learned experience through that experience, and I learned like what it goes into that process. And so like one day when my material is where I want it to be, I will have like a knowledge behind like the production side of it and know kind of what I can afford and what I can pull off with a special.
That makes, yeah. So, yeah, from a filmmaker's point of view, I had two thoughts on that. From my point, like I started making features rather early, mostly because like as a writer, that's where I'm obsessed. Like that's like I'm obsessed with the form and reading movies. Like I do love to read screenplays, and I do like to write screenplays, and so like it just like eventually made sense to just want to try and make those whereas like I think short films, especially for filmmakers, come from a point of view of like I want to like show off this particular talent of my filmmaking ability, and I feel like I can direct and I feel like I can write, but I don't have a lot of like technical ability on that side of things, right? I find the people that can help me with those things, and that's what I did very early on. Was once I started gathering those people up, I was like, well, I have these scripts.
And college is such a good place to start doing that too, because you're around so many people who are interested in the same things as you and maybe have better skills in certain areas than you.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And then you complement each other.
Right, yeah. And we start to grow together too.
Yeah.
Right? And you start to learn things together, and the you know, somebody's getting better at what they do while you're getting better at what you do.
Yeah.
It's just kind of helpful, right? And
yeah.
We kind of push each other up that way. But also, you know, I kind of, with your question too, I think that there's still time to redefine really what a movie is, in the sense of like there's a lot of thought and kind of process of like people turning down a movie before they've seen it because of how low budget it can be, or like, oh, this isn't like able to be thought of in the same realm as a blockbuster movie. You know, there's even a separation of that from what was called independent film,
right?
But it's not independent film anymore. and then what we do, right? And not even what we do, what we have yet to put out, right? And some of the things that we've been making on the side is like these stories do have more to do with or like just being a moment in time or being something else. Like I mean, like I consider this movie that we shot in December to be more of a letter, right? And it's a long, it's an hour and a, it's going to be an hour and a half long
With
movie. With Justin. Sab, yeah, Savannah, yeah. And it's just more of a letter to a moment, an experience in time, rather than being a narrative, a story, right? And then like all the people that have worked on Field of Screams and any of these films now can make a movie that is an hour and a half and can just like in that hour and a half not have all of these restrictive kind of narrative things that need to be there as well. I mean, not to say that we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to make movies that, like, Field of Screams totally, like, it has a beginning, middle, and end. It fits within the narrative of what a movie should be. But also, we want to make those, but we can do that whenever we want. Like, you have a camera, I have a camera, we have sound equipment. Now, only things can go up for more money, but even if, like, something were to happen, they tear away stuff from us, we can make something even smaller, and still put it out at the right length,
Yeah, there's just different tiers of where you can go, with what you have.
Right. Well, and that's the question too, right? Like what is that? How do we define that? Of what's the difference? I don't know.
We're with your knowledge and experience, like how do you approach a project like Field of Screams when you're coming into it as a producer and like an actor on it, and like what was your role in the film, and like how did you best combine resources to make the best product?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that time, Evan and Alex hadn't made a feature film. Now they've since that summer have worked on 4,
Wow.
But that was the first one.
Dang.
Yeah, we did a lot of work this summer. But they have worked on 4. I didn't say like completely made 4, but we have at least been a part of 4 of them this summer.
Dang.
And so, like when I met them, when we first, Evan worked at the theater that I worked at, movie theater I worked at, and I was in the process of making that movie, and Evan seemed like and Alex both made sense to bring on to help me with that movie, like immediately. And so we started working together. We showed each other things that we had made, and that movie fell apart, and they brought me this script. And the first thing I thought of when I looked at this script was Randy, like in a second, heartbeat. Like, well, it beyond just like, so I write with actors and people in mind, right? And like, it's not that
Does that help you like with the writing process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it helps me to place characters, things like that. It just figure out.
Yeah. I feel like that's a brain thing too. Like, because when I'm reading a book or anything, I picture things that I already know.
Right. Exactly.
If I'm not being given an image, then I imagine like this apartment or like this person.
Right. Yeah, and it's helpful in that way.
Yeah.
I think too. I mean, especially with the reading part, to put yourself there. But with the writing part as well. But no, with Randy, I read that script and I saw him in it, but he was, he's also a big fan of, like Doug Jones, who does like he was the fish and, why can't I think of that movie now? Shape of Water, and also the Hellboy movies. And he's also the hand guy in, Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like knowing Randy's, admiration of this actor and kind of wanting to embody something like that. You look at that Scarecrow character, and I'm like, wow, I've never had an idea for Randy in particular. You know, not that, like, I haven't wanted to cast him in roles and think that he was good for roles, but never had an idea that I was like, oh, this is perfect for Randy.
Yeah, totally.
So now, like, I'm like, guys, here's the first step, is get Randy. And then, like, we just go from there. And after that, it's just building the movie. And Alex ran an incredible Kickstarter campaign. You know, she headed up that part of it, which is something that changed the game for us, because that's not something I was ever able to really do. And then I have done this type of thing before. There's definitely things that I hadn't taken on before. And as far as the acting part, because that was like maybe 2-3 weeks before we started actually shooting.
Had you acted in anything before that?
So this summer we also took on Innate, which is directed by J. Jordan Parsons, who stars alongside you. I met him at UNC in 2016, and we met in a screenwriting 101 class with Joseph Brady. And that first day, he's like, I'm writing this script called Innate, right? And he has been working on it since then. So like 2 years, maybe a year before we started working on Field of Screams, he started shooting Innate. So then he sends us his cut of Innate, which we ended up re-editing over the summer. Alex edited it as well. He had asked me to be in it, and it had been forever ago, right? And this is at the point of, like, we have actors that we want to take on the role, but we're fighting with SAG-AFTRA, which is, like, hard to do at this level. Like, the really low budget level is to try and bring in actors who have SAG status already, even if they're, like, struggling for jobs. Like, we have to meet a certain, and it's like, how are they supposed to get their name out? Whatever. And you
have to meet a certain, like, amount,
a budget level, things like that. And then if you declare yourself a low budget film, there's a certain, like, a no budget film, like, if you declare yourself that level, then you suddenly can't profit off the film afterwards, which just ruins everything for us.
Dang.
And, like, we were, like, even trying to make some of the actors, like, producers, so that they would make money off the back end. So, and it's just like, there's no way around it. And that didn't work out. And then we contact a few people, and they kind of, it's kind of, like, hard. Sometimes people leave you on red. It's not nothing against them. You're just, that's
just the business. Yeah. Like, you're always reaching out to people and always, like, failing. Like, comedy world too, like, you're like, can I be on your show? And you're just like, some people are nice and, like, humor you. right and, like, might put you on, or might be like, yeah, I'll try, and
respond, like, 3 times and then never talk to
you. Yeah, exactly. So I get that.
And so we sit down and we watch the cut of Innate, and Alex is like, you're good in that, and then I want to put you in something. And then that's kind of around the time that ended up being in the movie. And at that point, like, I had no idea what I was tackling with that. And so I didn't know that me and you were going to square off multiple times. Like, I had read the script, but, like, never thought about it that way until it was too late.
But not a ton of, like, acting outside of that. You're mostly the writing and producing side.
I guess. I did like a small part on stage in high school, Okay. We did Hairspray, and I played this guy that owns, like, this clothing store, and I'm handing out donuts, and then the patient shows up, and I was supposed to throw the donut box over my head, and, like, the third night, I threw it over my head and hit one of the background singers. I was pretty sure, like, I'm not going to do this again. And I think I did a couple.
I threw the donut wrong. I can never act again.
Exactly. Well, and I think I did a few short films in college, like, when we were throwing them together, but not things that.
Oh, sure, yeah,
you know.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I remember you being in a couple of things, yeah,
but not to this extent, man.
What
this
was
was
the
hard.
One? Yeah, for sure. It was hard for me too. Yeah, because I've been I was in a couple of things. Like I was in a couple of short films in college, and then theater in high school and stuff like that. So I was like, I got this. I go on stage all the time.
Right.
And then I show up. I'm like, this is so much harder than I thought it would be. Like showing up for every scene, ready to act in front of everybody and stuff like that. I'm glad we had that first weekend, just me and Jordan and the team, because I was like, because it gave me a chance to kind of ease into it and figure out what it's going to be like before more people get. But then pretty much after that, I had pretty small roles in speaking and stuff like that.
So I'm so used to having to pay attention to the schedule, the shot list, those types of things.
Yeah.
And I was trying to help Evan and Alex lead that. And Alex didn't want me to, she wanted me focused on the other part, right? So
what was the other part?
The acting part.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
So sometimes I would be trying to help with that, and they would get frustrated with me and be like, no, you go back and do your thing, which is fine, totally fine. But at one point, when we were first starting, there was a scene, and we were starting late, which, that's the way it works with indie film, right?
Yeah.
And I'm paying attention to the schedule, but that's where my mind wants to be, and I'm like, I want to get things going. But then I'm like, this is towards the beginning, and I'm like, no, you're supposed to be focused on your next scene. So try to focus on your next scene. Try to focus on your next scene. Where the fuck is Alex? Why aren't we starting yet? And then I noticed that Alex is talking with you. And then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to use that. Because the next scene is the part where we're playing ping pong.
Funny.
And I'm like, I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to be mad at it.
Yeah, I mean, me and Alex had a lot of, coach and player talks before scenes.
Oh, dude. Aren't they good, though?
Yeah.
I had one, too. That one scene, right?
Yeah.
And she comes upstairs, and I've been upstairs, and they'll know when they see the movie. But I've had my head hung down. What I was thinking about was an anchor on the back of my neck the whole time, right? And I have my head down, and she comes upstairs, and I'm certain I'm ready to do this scene. I'm so ready for it. There's no matter what, I'm ready for it. So I'm like, let's go. And she's like, no, sit down. I'm like, no, let's go. And she's like, no, sit down. And she sits me down, and she asked me 2 questions. And she asked me these 2 questions, and by the time I started answering the first one, I get that feeling in my throat, and by the time I had gotten words out, I was just bawling.
Oh, shit. Wow.
I don't know. Alex is magic like that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a good director can do, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just an emotionally charged activity.
Yeah.
It's because you got to put yourself in a certain headspace to get into it and to perform.
It's transformative. It's weird. Afterwards, I was it's like getting a new tattoo.
yeah, that's a good point.
Feel complete, numb a little bit, little adrenaline buzzed.
Yeah, you're about to. It's like going on stage for sure. I wish I had a director before every set to just be like, what do you want out of this? Who do you want to be? I'm going to be the best on the lineup tonight. And then I get out there and kill it.
Slash you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Keep that self-doubt out of your brain. And then and instead I just do it by myself, and I just go.
Did you do sports?
Yeah.
Which sports did you do?
Football and basketball for 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Football for 4 years.
Yeah. I wrestled a lot. And they would do that, they wouldn't slap you, but they hit you right on the head.
Yeah, come on, kid. Come on. It's all in you. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Sometimes you need that.
Just bring those with coaches with us.
Yeah, for sure, honestly. Yeah, I want a boxing coach to come with me to every set just to get me in the right headspace. So what was the last script that you read?
Last script that I read?
Yeah.
I downloaded, I didn't read all of it, but I downloaded Nosferatu. Because
there
was this guy on TikTok that was fully reading pages of it, right? Just one page of it. And I've been obsessed with this book lately called Kill the Dog since I graduated with my MFA with screenwriting, because that was learning all the ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. And then there's this book called Kill the Dog that's fuck all that. Whoa. And I've been obsessed with that. And then you sit down.
It's the opposite of Save the Cat.
Exactly.
No way.
Literally, he's in the book, he's freaking hate that book.
Oh wow. Nice.
But it, like, I think
kill the dog. That's funny.
But I think that it's interesting to look at. You know, I think the point of the book is like to understand that you can break every single rule in the book. Mm-hmm. But I also think it is important to know all the rules. You know, it's not like something you just skip over. But then you read something like this Nosferatu script, right? And it's like it follows every rule, but also breaks every rule at the same time. It's hard to explain. It definitely.
What's a good example of that?
So, rules as far as like action lines go, right? As far as like what you can and can't put into an action line. Like the idea of an action line is that it's supposed to be only the things that you can see on the screen, right? So you can't write what's in somebody's head. You can't write what it smells like. You can't write this or that.
Oh, okay.
But like scripts like Nosferatu show that you can do those things if you're still setting up the scene. And like it's hard to explain because Eggers will literally put in the smells and things like that are.
What's the purpose of that?
Because then you can see it, like you can almost see it, you know.
Oh,
and I think that's the idea.
It's about how it translates,
right? And I thought that I've always had that I haven't seen written anywhere, and I'm not exactly sure if it is, but it's like I think of screenplay as written from the point of view of the audience, right? So if you can sit down and read it and it feels like you're watching the movie, that's where you want to be. You want to be writing from an audience member's point of view almost, right? And I feel like
so the script doesn't just serve as an instruction manual to how to set up the shot.
No, they're beautiful. They're a very underserved art form, and I think that they're beautiful to look at, especially when they break the rules that are so like rigorously preached upon them. And I think that what's fun is it's like a club in the way, like a screenwriting club. Like you almost know how to all these things that a screenplay is supposed to be, right? And then you pick up a screenplay where it's like you can tell the writer knows all those things but isn't necessarily doing all of them, and he's breaking rules or he's adding images here or she's, you know, changing even the size of fonts. The Substance did that this year. Something that film will like go from like tiny like regular size font and then just suddenly just big letters that take up the whole page because it's trying to invoke the same feeling that's happening in the scene, you know.
Wow.
So I think that like those rules and are so rigorously pushed upon screenwriters, but then like we also understand that they're very simply guidelines, like not something that you have to stick to at all.
Why do you think it's important to learn the rules first then? In anything, not just like because like I think you're right. Like there's a reason why these exist, and I think it's because like these are what's proven to be effective. And if you learn those, then you can learn how to still be effective while breaking them because you already have that and you have a direction you can go in. That's the way I see it. Is like before, like if I'm learning how to like, I don't know, like shoot an arrow, you know, like I have to learn how to shoot it first before I'm like, well, wouldn't it be better if it was sideways and it was a trigger instead of me using my arm and like
did it upside down with your feet?
yeah something like that. That's cool. Yeah.
My sister has a tattoo on the back of her leg because she grew up shooting archery.
Oh really?
Yeah, my stepdad also shoots a lot of archery.
Okay.
Like went and shot in Vegas all the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She has a tattoo on the back of her leg where this like circus performer's like upside down shooting a bow.
Whoa. Yeah. You can't do that without learning how to shoot it first. Yeah.
Well, okay. So looking at a film, like there's like in order to get it done at the end, like there's 1,000 miracles that have to happen.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And then you look at the final product and you're like, there's no way certain things like I could have planned for those things, right? And it's like, can you rely on that for your entire process? You know, like,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's something to think about. As
yeah,
far
you can't
as,
show up with nothing in your hands. Let's
right,
do a movie, guys. I got my
just
phone.
right. Well, and, you know, I don't think that when I was taking screenwriting 101 that, you know, like, my screenplays were terrible, but they're certainly a lot better now, you know, like, and that's the thing is, like, people can make things good when they start now. It doesn't mean that you have to just continuously learn. This is not something where you stop learning. Like, you know that. I mean, none of this is something where we can stop learning.
Yeah.
If we did, then we would hit a wall. We would become stagnant. I think. I mean.
Yeah, I think most pursuits, like, you have to, like, continue to find ways to learn too. Like, you can't just you can't just be like passively like, oh, I'll figure this out. You know, like, you have to practice it and fail at it a few times before you can actually get good at something.
When I was starting my MFA, I mean, I had written hundreds of screenplays already. I do it for fun. I have Batman screenplays that I will never go anywhere because I just write them for fun. You know, and I still went and did that just because I was starting to feel stuck. So I was like, I'm gonna go do something that helps push. I like school. I honestly do.
Yeah. So when you feel stuck, what does stuck feel like?
Stuck feels like, I think.
What does that look like for you?
I think at that time was I had finished a movie. That was after Safe House 1618. I had spent a year working at a mine to afford to do that, and felt like the movie hadn't gone much of anywhere. And I felt like I wasn't wanting to do. I've always known I didn't want to do the LA move. I was always up against that. And now that like I'm fully against that, like, I understand why. I was like, I would have never been happy doing that. You know.
Why?
Cause, man, I feel like we are building something here, something different, and film is such a, like, I want to be a part of whatever that looks like over the next 100 years, where it starts to drift away from one place, and it's certainly not one place. I'm not naive enough to think that Hollywood is the only place that's happening. It's obviously happening in Albuquerque and Atlanta, and, you know, all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, films are being made all over the place, but I mean, like it's something where it's always felt so singular. Not that, you know, I spent years in school learning about foreign films and you know, all types of films that come from everywhere, but what common people outside of film that are not in that world constantly like I am think of a movie, they think of that world, right? And I just want to be a part of building something new, making it like when you go to any city in the world, you can go and watch a local band that night, right? Like, one day, like, any city in the world, like, you can go watch a movie from there that night.
Yeah, totally.
What would that be like? Like, what does that world look like?
Yeah, that's a good. I love that vision. Yeah.
You know, and so, and like, I do feel like here we are building something different, and, you know, there's a style and a look that has always kind of been there with the films from this area. You know, I feel like you've probably seen enough of them to kind of see that. I feel like maybe it's the cameras and the, you know,
maybe,
you know, a lot of that, but I do feel like there's something coming from that. And I think Evan and Alex, as far as my point of view, as far as like what we could do before them, what they bring as well is this taught ability to edit that I haven't seen, as far as attacking a film as a different story. Which we always just, you know, we're always making one movie. It's like you shoot the film and they start the edit and they start attacking it as if it's completely something new, you know, and they start completely over with what we have, what we did shoot, what the movie became, rather than what we were trying to make before we started shooting it. And I think that's created a real difference where that film still feels the same, but elevated. Something new,
interesting,
something different.
Yeah, because like I talked with them, Alex and Evan, about it, and like one of the questions I asked them was like, how did the film evolve from what you envisioned to what it turned out to be. And I think a lot of it for them was like just rolling with what we had and like what the like they said they were planning on it being more of like a comedy film and like more comedic elements, and then they were like, oh, this scene is not funny, or like this is so serious, and like I think they adapted to that pretty well.
Oh yeah, and I think the film's become something new, but it still feels so raw and original to them. And like knowing them and watching it, I don't know if it's so much changed for me, especially like once I was like in the character part, right? In that part, it was like terrifying and heartbreaking and hard to deal with, like the emotions that you and I went through. So like I was feeling those emotions of the things that they're talking about, like that the funniness kind of going out of it. But also like it's always been a very dark movie, I think. Like not in the way that like it's so like dark, but it's hard. There's a lot of hard things to deal with,
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a lot of character development and like a lot of intense like emotional journeys.
Yeah. And I think that once they got into editing the film, that they adjusted to what we were doing, and also like on set we're adjusting to the way the characters were feeling, how things were happening, the mood that I feel like the location put upon us. I don't know if you felt that too.
Yeah, and I feel like that's yeah, definitely. And going back to like the style of different areas, like that maybe that's part of it too, is like your environment has a lot to do with what your output is. I don't know if I could spot the difference in other films per se yet, because I haven't studied it like that. But with comedy, I definitely see it. Like I definitely see like the different styles that come out of LA, that come out of New York and Chicago versus here. Or just like out in the, like generally the further away from cities, the weirder stuff gets, like because like you're more of a collective mind when you live in a more populated area, I think.
Well, we talk about this a lot of like over in something that when you study like film history or film theory and criticism, we study movements, and like so like there's certain movements throughout like history of film that have happened, and like we talk about it like that's what we want to be, is like a movement, like a legit movement of film where, and part of that is coming from not just us making film,
right,
like, and it comes from more films being just made in this area, but with a style, a thought, a message, there's just a lot of things that go into that. We talk about how over time a lot of those movements kind of get squashed too by eventually they get mainstreamed, right? And then that movement kind of hits a wall once a bunch of money
peaks.
Yeah exactly. But one of the things that indie film in general, no matter what happens to this movement, indie film in general has behind them now that never had before, is we can afford the equipment no matter what. New filmmakers every day of the week can afford the equipment and just make the movie. So like sometimes those movements also get squashed by the fact that once the money comes in, then the money's in control, right?
Yeah.
But we're in control of this equipment completely.
Yeah, then it just comes down to discipline and getting it done, putting it out. I mean, like the post-production side of Feel the Screams was like a year or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, from like the shooting took 3 weeks and then 3 weekends, so like 6 to 10 cumulative days, and then like everything before and after that was like a year.
Right. Well, and I think that's the big thing about film is like as far as shooting, and this is something that we think about a lot, and this is something that we've been doing a lot more, is it takes a very short amount of time for us to shoot a feature, like you said, 12 days.
Yeah.
Right? I shot one in December for 4 days.
Wow.
It was all day, 4 days, and we wrote the script specifically to be that short of a film.
Yeah.
Right? Not short of a film. it only has 2 characters really in it. But like to do something like that in particular, but like we can get them shot and done, and then take as much time as we want on the other side.
Right.
Because that's where it's hard. I mean, for Fill the Screams, we spent a year putting it together. And that was a different kind of project where when it came to me, I was making things in a little bit of a different way. And moving forward, we're not going to move forward exactly that way anymore. But because like we moved forward on that the way I moved forward on previous projects like Safe House 1618, Country Mustard, and Forgery. Was like, have an idea. Now we got to find a place to do the idea. We got to make the idea happen and then go from there. A lot of our ideas now are kind of like, what locations do we have available to us? What can we do within that? You know?
Yeah.
Like I shot a movie around the movie theater I worked at because it made sense to. There's a location that looks cool. We can make a story out of it. Go from there. You know, one of Evan or Alex, I just won't say which one, just to keep the anonymity on it, has an idea that takes place around a cabin, right? So like, I have access to a cabin. Now we just have to get that done, figure out the actors, get it shot, and then like the movie that we shot in December, we're not gonna touch that until like. Until at least Fill the Screams is out, like, right? You know, like we don't have time to do that, but shoot it, get it done, have it and then it's just like Innate was for us on Accident. It's in the barrel, ready to go to follow up whatever we had behind that, and start trying to get more movies out faster, so that way we can start supporting ourselves more. And hopefully being able to make more.
You're building a career.
Yeah.
Not just for you, but for everyone that you work with, and it's a network.
That was the idea. That was I mean, behind that, there's so much talent here, and there's something so special here, and I would love that. That's what I would love to be able to do, is to be able to one day just have everyone doing what they love to do. All the time, you know. How do you stay? So like you were feeling stuck, and then like you started writing the Batman stuff, and that kind of gets you unstuck. But like that's kind of like, you know, to keep the wheels greased, you know. But like once you find the thing that you want to focus on, like how do you you know, stay committed to the end? You know, Patton Oswalt has this joke where he's like, he makes fun of Deathbed, the movie, where he's like, someone wrote and shot Deathbed, the bed that eats people, and I sit down and write 30 pages of a screenplay, and I'm like, I can't do it. It's not good enough. I can't do it. Someone finished Deathbed. One of the things is I get other people involved, and then I feel like feel bad if I let them down.
Okay,
that's a legit thing. Like some of the times,
that's a good tip. Yeah, I mean, like it's easy to let yourself down.
No, it is.
You can't let other people down.
Well, I know not to give out any of my screenplay ideas or thoughts unless I'm like seriously thinking about doing them. Like you and I talked about one on New Year's, and I'm like seriously thinking about doing it. I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise, right? And like I because like then I do feel bad if I have to go, and I've had this happen enough times where enough movies have fallen through too, where I've legitimately had to go to people and be like, we have put in all this work, I am so sorry, it's just not happening, you know. And I hate that. I hate that more than anything.
I feel the same way when I have to cancel a show or reschedule something, or like, you know, whatever, something changes or falls through. Well,
and like one of the big things with that too is from where I put so much into them that now I've always tried to work with a producer that is doing the job that I'm doing now, and it's never worked for me, and that's always put me in the position where I've had to make the calls, where I've had to, you know, where they've gone and they're like, oh, we're going to get money from this place, but we're not going to be able to cast XYZ person that you love working with, so you're going to have to tell them, and it's like, okay, one, that is their job, should be their job, and two, if I'm in this position, I can make sure that doesn't happen. You know, like I can make sure that I'm more in control now. I like that.
Yeah, I get that, dude. Yeah, when I started, when I was like, oh man, I really need film for my shows. Like I need, because like that's how we promote better. That's how we like expand our reach, is like and give other people tapes is like, we need to start filming the whole show. And I need, and for a while I was like trying to give that to someone else and be like, someone please like do this for me. So, and I'll pay you like a little bit of money, but nothing at all, but like just something to get it going. And it wasn't until I was just like, all right, well, fuck it, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
And even when I first started like trying to record sets, I was like using a camera that had a limit on it. So I would have to like run to the back of the camera, turn it off, turn it back on, start. And so like 30 seconds of their set would get cut off. But I just had to start doing it. And then eventually like things fell into place where I could get like this one, and like someone else gave me a camera. Right. Because like, I don't know, just like when you start asking for things, like things start coming to you. Yeah. And so, yeah. And like, and it just didn't work out. Anytime I tried to delegate it or give it to someone else, but I was like, I can control this. Like I can, it's more work for me, but like, at least I can do something about it. Like, at least I can give it a shot and like, you know, start slow, but over time, like it slowly builds up and like I get better at it.
Right. And like, this is technically more work for me, and it's also not at the same time, because when I'm writing and directing something, right, I'm swarmed in it like the whole time, just like completely with Evan and Alex's movie, I didn't have to be that swarmed in it, but I can do all of the work that I've done before, make sure they've cast everybody, make sure they get the whole crew together.
Yeah, you've done it enough times.
Yeah, and then it's like that stuff is easy for me.
Yeah,
so
totally.
like you get that done, and then you're there are, but you know, on this side of things, much more to do.
Yeah, totally.
But as far as like, yeah, I mean, on some levels, it makes my life easier doing this part of it now. Like you were saying, like it just it makes life easier. And like, again, that's the part of it, is like, now I can't let other people down. So as long as I can't let other people down, I guess I'll keep doing it for myself.
Yeah,
too.
totally. Can you think of a time where you've been stretched out of your comfort zone recently, and what you learned out of that?
So as I'm sitting here right now, well, I mean, like seriously, I mean, like this last couple months since we finished Film to Screams, you know, we've worked on 3 other films, been a part of them. One of them I wrote and directed. While I've been stocking up money as much as I can, working like crazy, trying to make sure that we could get all these theater rentals together for the tour, making sure we can get, you know.
That's a lot of work too.
Yeah.
I was impressed when you guys were like, we're going on tour, and I'm like, holy shit, that's so much work that they did. Man.
Yeah, dude, holy shit. And like the theaters are,
now you got to pull it off.
The theater, yeah, right? Yeah. Well, and the theaters are also gracious and great and thankful. I'm so thankful for them to let us be there, you know, also. But also sometimes it's like, when are you guys going to reply to my email? Like 30 minutes before we... Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, and then, you know, we've been doing that while making the deliverables for the distribution deal that we can't talk about yet. And, you know, you know, I got people I'm helping with their films on the side, and, you know, and I worked all of Christmas, all of New Year's. I worked the day that we came to your party.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And you know, and just making sure that next year we're ready to go. Because I think, you know, after Fill the Screams too, you know, 3 more films are not going to be far from being ready again. And the idea is just to keep doing it, you know. Yeah. And not every film's going to make sense to tour. You know, like those 2 stopped in Iowa make a lot of sense for Evan and Alex, being as they went to college there. One of them's their hometown, you know. It might just be Denver, Chicago, L.A., Fort Collins, you know. But, you know, since this has started, we've started getting it. It was like, are you guys coming to Albuquerque? It's like, well, maybe next time we will, you know, like, or
opens up more doors.
Yeah, just keep adding more stops. Where does it make sense for the filmmaker, you know? Yeah. With Nate, I've kind of been tossing around, talking with somebody in maybe South Carolina, which is where they've spent a lot of time, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as we grow, we want to keep doing those things and keep pushing the movies out. Yeah. And right now, very stretched.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's hard to turn over like like the end of something, and then like, oh, we're starting all these new things,
Right.
like, and then like, especially when you got multiple going on at the same time, like you're spinning a lot of plates, like you're responding to all those emails and keeping track of everything at once. Like it's tough, dude. Yeah. Like right now, like I'm like still doing Stella's technically, but we're working on bigger shows at the Moxie and the Rialto and Casper.
Okay.
So it's like, and I'm working a full-time job, and I'm like trying to be a comedian, and I'm trying to do more film production things.
Right.
I just launched my production company, which is like supposed to get my foot in the door to more video and camera work and more photography and stuff. So I'm also doing headshots and like doing so I'm making all of this happen at the same time. And it's like a lot, you know.
It's so much.
It's so much, but it's the newness. Like all this is new, and it's like the start of all these things that will grow into bigger things one day.
Right. Yeah. And that's the big thing too, is like enjoy this part of it, because like in a weird way, you know, if it does become successful, like, not to say that we won't become successful, I would love that, but on a certain level, I like this part of it, you know, like not that I like the struggle, not that I like being stretched thin on money or food,
right,
or all those things. But like right now, we are the artists, like we are by the textbook definition.
Totally.
Like, so, you know, and when your favorite filmmakers, and I don't know how you feel about this with comedians, but sometimes when your favorite filmmakers are in the top of their money making point in their life, that's when their movies are like, well.
yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah,
I think it takes a certain like in this stage where you're like hungry for it, and you're like, I'm gonna make this happen no matter what. Like I think the output is shows that, you know, we will make it happen no matter what. And that's kind of like where it's like, enjoy this part. Totally. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, I got just a couple of quick ones for you, and then we can wrap it up.
Round. So did you mix them up for me, or am I going
they might be, I don't know. They might be different, because yours was like the first one ever. So
it's been a while.
Yeah, so they'll probably be a little different.
Okay.
Do you have like do you have a favorite gas station? We talked about Quick Trip when we first got here. They have a fucking coffee that comes out of a tap. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite gas station?
Well, see here.
And what's your favorite road snack that you get from that gas station?
Well, okay, so I have a very particular thing I like to buy for road trips, which you know, we got that coming up. So, but I like the orange Mountain Dew Kickstart is the best.
Oh shit,
dude!
I remember those.
I can't find them hard. They're not at every convenience store, but they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then the blue bag of like the styrofoam popcorn from Chester's that tastes like it's the butter one that it's nearly just like feels like styrofoam in your mouth.
Yeah.
But if you put your tongue like on there, you can feel like the crystals of the butter.
Oh
shit!
It's
so good.
which brand is that?
I think it's like the Cheetos Chester. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Popcorn. Like
nice.
The styrofoam popcorn.
Yeah.
I used to love Come and Go, but that's gone now. So
Mavericks.
Yeah, Mavericks.
Which are also very good.
Yeah. But there's one, I mean, there's like literally one but next to Sam and I's house, apartment that's like right on the corner. And the two guys that work there are always so cool. They also have the orange Kickstart, and it's right next to a comic book store. It's not even like... It's just like
you're living the dream.
Yeah, it's just like a generic... gas station. And
it's like a Shell or something.
Yeah, we just go and run over there and grab stuff all the time.
That's the best. Do you have a favorite camera you shoot with?
Yeah, I mean, I think those. I think the Blackmagic is an underrated camera. I mean, it's what we shot that movie on. We shot it on the 6K. I've recently got my hands on a 4K, so we have one that we just use all the time. I think they're just so convenient, so fast, so good, and I mean, I think that's part of what creates that very particular image in these movies that I really enjoy. Yeah, and I think that's very special, because it's very special in the sense of like it's something so accessible to us.
Yeah,
that creates something so beautiful for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it's like the highest, like closest to like a cinema camera that's like within our range, you know, within our reach. Yeah.
Jager and I shot a short on in March on the FX3.
Okay.
Which is what the camera he runs pretty all the time. That camera looks really beautiful as well. The opening shots to Nice Spare you can check.
Okay.
That's what those live action shots.
A lot of comics that are like on the road a lot. I've heard. 'Cause there's a camera guy who works at one of the comedy stores or Comedy Works, and so he runs like he does all the tapes and stuff. And he was telling me how like a lot of comics use like an FX3 and then like a A7 S3 or something, like dual cameras. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of people use the Sony.
That FX3, they shot that John David Washington movie on it. The one where the AI was in the kid. There's a trailer. It came out a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
But like, I mean, it's the same idea as like this movie was shot on an iPhone. Well, it's shot on an iPhone, but that's extremely upgraded. But like, but like, it's an accessible camera to us, and like, it's only a couple $1,000s, but it's also shooting Hollywood level movies at the same time. Like,
pretty sweet.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
What is that movie called? I can't remember now.
Yeah, it'll come to you later on the drive home.
Oh, drive home.
Fuck, that's what it was. Do you have a favorite time of day?
Night.
Night?
I'm a night owl by far. Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why I like closing the movie theater. I get out of there at like 11 o'clock sometimes. It's just still. I like driving at night. It freaks my mom out, but I would even when I was going to school in Kansas, like I would like leave at like 7 p.m. and drive overnight rather than drive during the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not somebody who sleeps very much at all. Like never have, and I sleep like 3 or 4 hours. But
dang, bro, we're different in that way. I took a nap today on accident, and I slept a lot last night. I'm still like my brain is just like I don't know why.
I mean I can't help it. I'll stay up all night working on stuff or reading stuff or playing something or watching movies, and then like I will straight up like be awake in my bed at 6 a.m. and just being like, well, shit, no. And then that's
it's 6 a.m.
What I will do is like probably work again until like noon, 1 o'clock, and sleep for an hour, and then go to work.
Damn.
Yeah. But
if you catch me up all night and I go to bed for an hour, I'm sleeping for fucking 14 hours after that.
Well, I mean, it's so my mom's always been like. My mom's always like, just the way you are, like this, and like when I was a kid, she'd come in the next morning and just like lines of sheet paper just like covered in this. I've been writing forever. Yeah. And that's like I feel like that's just like the part of me that's a natural writer. It's that nocturnal part of me that just won't
totally
go to sleep.
Oh yeah, no, like when I wasn't working at 8 a.m. every day, like I used to like stay up super late and like because I also enjoy the night too. Like I like if I could stay out like at shows and stuff and just like be out really late, like I would. And someday I will, but like for now it's like oh shit, it's 11 o'clock. I gotta go home.
One of the things we were paying attention to on that we ended up figuring out on the tour is like how many times like the next morning we're gonna have to leave like super fucking early.
Fuck. That's rough.
It's like we're gonna have to leave the day after the premiere and then like drive not all day, but then drive all day the next day for sure. And so and then like leave for Chicago the next morning and then leave for Burlington the next morning and then drive to LA.
Oh shit! I can't believe you guys are doing that all on the road. That's crazy.
Randy's coming along. We have the costume possibly. Take pictures of him and
nice.
Yeah,
cool
fun places.
Yeah, no, that'll be sick, dude. That'll be really fun. Yeah, take pictures of him in like the canyons or something. Like the Utah roads. Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out right now what dates I'm gonna be able to make, but I'll probably just like fly or something.
But you don't want to. We're legit. We've looked into renting a van. It's not crazy, you know.
Okay.
So
that's not bad.
We'll have a nice van.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I gotta limit the days I take off work because
oh my god, that part's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because you got. I mean, at least luckily you got it all packed in the same 2 weeks. But
yeah. It's just like every year when I take off to do a movie, it's the same kind of kills me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. This is the first year I have more to work with, so I'm doing some for this, and then like the goal is to hit both the coasts this year and maybe do some Midwest stuff on the road. So
I hope I can start teaching soon. Now that I have an MFA.
Dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah, throw something alongside that. So I just make it, that way my summers are easier to survive.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, make that salary money, that professor money.
Ooh, I don't know about that. That's a lot of commitment doing those things.
Oh, okay.
But even like instructor of some sort, yeah.
Oh, sure,
I don't
yeah.
I don't know if I'd be a professor if I'd start like see, that's the thing. It's like I definitely got to do more research before I ever start getting into that.
I think you could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, your hours are good. Like you're working during the day, and then you get your summers off.
Yeah.
And then you can like, dude, like all you're doing is building a plan, and then like it's the same thing that you've been doing, and then you just teach what you know.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like big for us. Is like it's mostly planning on the hours off, anyways, and then taking 2 weeks, and those are like really when we shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really the tour, the first tour is gonna kind of just take place in that same mode of like where a film would normally. I mean, weren't we shooting in April or May? Something like that. Yeah, it's been a year.
We shot the end of May and the beginning of June.
Yeah, so it would be almost a year. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
timeline wise.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, dude, thanks for doing this, man.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being a part of this whole thing we're building.
I'm happy to. Yeah, man. It's exciting. It's exciting to see you grow and to see you build the thing that you've been, putting so much time and effort into all these years.
Same, man. I've gotten to go to 2 shows since the last time I've been on here, and that was your shows are amazing, so funny. The people you bring on.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
One of the things I did figure out is that filmmakers cannot party with comedians. We can't keep up.
Is that right?
I was like afterwards. It was like. Alex and I were both like way too drunk. Like on the drive home.
Oh yeah, we go out multiple times a week and drink.
we loved it though. We had so much fun. You guys are great.
I was so glad to have you guys. Yeah.
Well,
we'll have to do it again soon.
See Jared's shows
for sure.
Hilarious.
Yeah, where can everybody find you and learn more about you and your projects?
Yeah, I'm at Calvin T. Shepherd Films on the social medias and stuff like that. And then follow Deescalated Pictures, deescalatedpictures.com, and Feel the Screams. We got the Feel the Screams Roadshow coming up in April. And then we got more movies to come after that, and they'll just keep coming. They won't stop.
It's exciting, man. Hell yeah. Thanks for doing it, Calvin.
Thank you.